Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of Sports Talk with Kris P. Today, I'm going to be doing the first half, teams 30 to 16, of my NBA League Pass rankings for the 2020 season. Really quickly before I start, the way I ranked these teams was kind of generally just how fun they're going to be to watch, but things like how intriguing they might be, how many question marks they have, things like that, like things I might want to see, things I might find fun, kind of all factored into my decisions here. These are just my rankings. This is the first half of the teams I think will be most fun to watch on NBA League Pass this season. Number 30, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is a team who just got Darius Garland, young, exciting, electric player with the fifth pick. They got Colin Sexton in the lottery last year. They have guys like Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson, Kevin Porter Jr., even Dylan Windler is a fun young guy. But this team has a lot of problems to solve, a lot of questions to answer, and I do not think that I want to see those things happen. I do not want to see those problems get solved or not solved. I don't want to see those questions get answered or not answered. This is just not, I'm not looking forward to watching this team this year. If when they play my Knicks, I'll watch the game, and it's probably going to be like some sad basketball to watch. I'm just really not high on this team this year. There are teams that are going to have worse records than them, Hornets specifically. But I just don't see this team being fun to watch at all or having many bright spots. Probably going to have a pretty messy offense, poor defensively. I'm not excited. In the 29 spot, I have the Washington Wizards featuring Bradley Beal, who just signed a 2-year, $72 million extension to his contract after a lot of trade talks, a lot of trade rumors. Beal will be staying in Washington. He is ineligible to be traded this season at all, so that is not a worry for Washington fans. They got Rui Hachimura, who I really like. My comp for him has got to be like LaMarcus Aldridge. Like, I'm just excited to see this team. Obviously, there are many more teams that I'm excited to see and more excited to see, but they're at the bottom of my list for a reason. They're not at the exact bottom for a reason. I think they have some bright spots. Thomas Bryant, to name one. Maybe we get an Isaiah Thomas resurgence. That would make things interesting, especially with John Wall out. Next up, I have the Charlotte Hornets, and this is because they've got Terry Rozier, Malik Monk, Miles Bridges. Those are three young guys who have exciting elements to their game, who are kind of going to be on pretty long leashes this year. I mean, who else are they going to play? This team is going to be fun to watch. It's going to be awful to watch at times. They're not good. They're going to be bad. Probably the worst in the league, if I'm being honest. But they've got some fun guys. Malik Monk, with no leash on him, is definitely going to be an energizing young player. Same with Rozier. Same with Bridges and his explosiveness. PJ Washington, kind of a combo forward they drafted this year. We can see what he has to bring to the table. Even Willie Hernan Gomez could be fun to watch. This team, again, with the bottom of my list, it's like these guys aren't going to be real great to watch, but the Hornets are going to be less bad to watch than some other teams. They have some fun qualities. They have some redeeming qualities. I'm not necessarily excited to see them play, but Malik Monk has a crazy game. Like, that's going to be fun to watch. Terry Rozier has a game like he did the other night in the preseason. He had like 24 points and a near triple-double. It was like 8 rebounds and 7 assists, some numbers like that. Like, that's a fun game to watch out of a player like him. So, some redeeming qualities, some bright spots. We'll see how it plays out for them this year. In the number 27 spot, I have the San Antonio Spurs. This is a team that's going to play good basketball that will be great to watch from a pure basketball perspective. But when you're looking for entertainment factors like explosive dunks or deep threes or flashy passing, this is not where you want to look. Coach Pop runs a tight ship. They play good basketball. They're probably going to be contending for a Western playoff spot this year. I'm just not excited to watch them play. We kind of know what they're going to look like. It's just a matter of whether they win a game or not. If you're watching a Spurs game and you're not a Spurs fan, you're probably watching it to see the other team. They're just not fun. They're not exciting. They don't have that it factor, that swag, that they're just a good team. And, you can't hate on them for being a good team that isn't exciting. But these are league pass rankings, so they are not going to rank highly on my league pass rankings. Really, that's all I have to say. You see Lonnie Walker and DeJounte Murray and Derek White. Those are some bright spots, excitement wise, and even for their future. But that's about it for me on this team that I'm interested in. Not going to be watching them much this year, and that's why. Next up, in the number 26 spot, I have the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker is an exciting young player. DeAndre Ayton is fun to watch and has some powerful moments. Even Dario Saric can have his moments this year and have some good games, have some fun moments, but this team's just not going to be good. And, kind of the opposite of the Spurs. The Spurs are a good team that's not that exciting to watch. The Suns might provide us with plenty of exciting moments, but the team isn't going to be good. And I don't know how interested I am in watching them night in and out just to see them lose a lot, really. And, Devin Booker, especially if you're a Devin Booker fan, this is a team that you can watch and have fun watching. I just think there are many more teams in the league that are all more fun to watch than the Suns. They're still rebuilding, and it's a slow rebuild as it seems, especially in the West. It's kind of hard to get that done, but they're making it happen slowly, I suppose. I wouldn't have passed up on Culver for Saric and Cam Johnson there, but they did, and maybe that's part of their plan. Maybe I just don't see the vision. Definitely would have paired Culver and Booker, or even tried to trade Culver for not Dario Saric and Cam Johnson. I don't know. I think that package was a bit odd, and we'll see that this season. I think they're going to be a bit of an odd team. Some fun moments, some weird ones, some bad ones, and we'll see how it plays out, really, but I'm just not too excited to see them going into the year. In the 25th spot, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder. If Chris Paul can return to his kind of prime CP3 floor general kind of play, even if it's not in full force, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander continues with the jump he seems to have made, from the preseason games. Steven Adams, we kind of know what we're going to get out of him. Danilo Gallinari is a fun player to see too. He can stretch the floor, hit some shots. This team has some players, even like Dennis Schroeder and Diallo, Ferguson. They're just some fun guys to watch. And, I have them finishing 9th in the West. In my earlier video, you can check out my Western Conference standings predictions on my channel. I have them finishing 9th there. I see them doing well this year. I see them being not too fun, but fun enough to maybe turn on a game and see, how are the Thunder doing, and check it out. See how CP3 is doing, see how Shai is playing, and just, see what's going on with the team. Like I said, if CP3 is the floor general we know he can be, it'll be a fun team to watch with, an old guard and a young guard kind of teaming up together in that starting lineup, and seeing the playmaking ability between the two of them that they share and have. And this team has potential to be fun. I don't think it'll be too fun. I think it'll be, more fun than the other teams I've listed so far. Some redeeming qualities, there are reasons not to watch them. There are definitely reasons to watch them. So I'll be looking out for the Thunder this year, especially if they play my Knicks. See if I can, see what's up with that team. In the 24th spot, I have the Miami Heat. And there are very few reasons for this, but they're all big reasons. We have Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Goran Dragic is fun to watch, and Justice Winslow is a player who's pretty interesting. So he pops in my head when I'm thinking about the Heat. I just see this team being, in the East, maybe competing for a playoff spot, depending on how their year goes. Maybe they're definitely getting one. Maybe they're fighting for one. Maybe they're definitely not getting one. I can't really place them anywhere without seeing them play a few games in the regular season. But, Jimmy Butler is fun to watch no matter where he is, and I think that'll just apply to the Heat as well. And we'll see them be a fun team this year. In the 23rd spot, I have the Detroit Pistons. At first, this may seem a little low for a team that just added Derrick Rose, that has Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond. The thing is, I just, they played good basketball last year. They got a playoff spot, but they're not too explosive. They have Drummond, making big plays down low. They have Blake adapting his game, hitting threes. He hit like the same amount of threes last year as he did in every other year of his career combined. He's really, really adapted his game to the modern game, and it's great to see. But I don't. Reggie Jackson wasn't fun to watch. I don't think them with Derrick Rose is going to be too much better. Someone I'm looking out for on this team is Sekou Doumbouya. I'm really curious about his game. That level of intrigue kind of makes me want to watch a few Pistons games and see what's going on. In the number 22 spot, I have the Indiana Pacers, and this was a hard team to rank because Oladipo is going to be out to start the year. He's going to come back. They're obviously going to be much more of a relevant league pass team once he's back. But I kind of thought of it as, what are they going to look like when they don't have him? And I think that Brogdon, Jeremy Lamb, TJ Warren, DeMontis Sabonis, and Miles Turner is a really solid starting five for a team missing its best player. Lamb was a great signing. He kind of goes under the radar because he was on the Hornets. Not a great team to be on if you really want to get noticed, I guess, besides if you're Kemba Walker. But this team, I think, especially with the bench, Justin Holiday is a fun young player. I think we're going to get to see what he has to offer a lot more this year, see his development, kind of get to root for him a bit, with that backup point guard spot. He could even, he could realistically run starting point guard if he really earns it. I guess move Brogdon to shooting guard and put Aaron Holiday in that starting spot. I don't see that happening, but, that's a storyline to follow. And this team just has potential to be fun, especially when Oladipo is back. Watching Miles Turner block shots is fun. Sabonis' post game is great to see. This is just going to be a fun and competitive group, really, that's going to be, exciting to watch this year, especially once they get their best player back in Victor Oladipo. In the number 21 spot, I have the Memphis Grizzlies, and I have them here because this is a team with Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Brandon Clark, who are three young and exciting players. I talked about Brandon Clark a lot in my last video about draft steals. Jaren Jackson Jr. is like a franchise player already at 20 years old, and Ja Morant was the second overall pick in what a lot of people claimed was a two-man draft, even though we're seeing some of those other picks have good years so far in the preseason. Um, this team there's a lot of reasons to watch them. They had last year's number 4 pick, this year's number 2, and 21 in Brandon Clark. Even with guys like Grayson Allen and Josh Jackson, if he comes up from the G League, there's a good amount of reasons to watch this team, a lot of questions to be answered about how they're going to look. What's Andre Iguodala's role going to be? They have veterans like Jay Crowder to watch, and they're not going to make the playoffs this year, but I think this will be a good developmental year for them, a good rookie season for Ja. A lot of people are saying he's going to struggle coming into the league. I don't think he's going to struggle. I just think he's going to put up some stat lines that are a bit more quiet than people were expecting. I don't think that necessarily means he's struggling. It just means he's finding his game. He's finding himself. He's finding out who he is as an NBA player. He's no longer the mega superstar of Murray State. He's the starting point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies. And, he has some hype to him, but when it comes down to it, he's a good passer, good playmaker, good dribbler, working on his shooting game, and we should see a nice year out of him. So I have them in the 21st spot. I think they'll be fun to watch. I don't think that they're going to be that fun to watch in comparison to the other teams we have in our league today. In the next spot at number 20, I put the Minnesota Timberwolves. And, here's the thing with this team. They have Cat, obviously talented, young, exciting player. They just got Jarrett Culver in this year's draft, another talented, young, exciting player. Cat a little more, obviously, but, Culver has potential, and I'm excited to see what's going on there. People kind of sleep on the rest of this team, though. Robert Covington is someone I'm a big fan of. I loved him in Philly. I think he's been great in Minnesota. I see him being not like a glue guy for them, but he's just going to be their scoring forward, really. And I guess that says more about Andrew Wiggins than it does about him. But, it's also like he's just a good player. I think he's definitely a fantasy basketball sleeper for this year. Shout out to the Knicks chat league. We just did our fantasy draft last night. But Rocco is someone who I like a lot, versatile player. Um, I see him having a good year this year. Guys like Josh Okogie, he had a lot of hype last year. He had that one, play defending Harden and totally locked down Harden in that game. Not in the whole game, obviously. Harden still put up his stats, but, he did a good job defending him for the most part, and especially for a rookie. And, guys like Jeff Teague and Gorgie Dang, they fill out this team in a way that some teams with young players like the Grizzlies just don't have. The Grizzlies have veterans. They don't have veterans as good as Rocco, Teague, Dang. All the players, guys on this team. They added Noah Vonleh, Jordan Bell. This is just going to be this is going to be a team that's better than people think. I still don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. I doubt it. But Cat is not the only bright spot of this team. Cat and Culver are not the only bright spot of this team. I think that this team has more depth than people think, and they're getting almost underrated a bit. I will say that it's easy for that to happen when you're in the West and you're not one of those top superstar studded teams. I still think they deserve a little more credit than they're getting right now, especially, trading Saric and the pick that ended up being Cam Johnson for Jarrett Culver is a great move, great player to pair with Cat, and I'm excited to see how things go for them this year. Next up in the 19th spot, I put the New York Knicks. They missed out on the superstars. They made what people think were kind of like panic signings, but after seeing these first four preseason games, I watched all four. I am a Knicks fan, so I watched them a good amount. I don't see this team making the playoffs. I don't see this team coming close to making the playoffs. I do see this team having a good and fun developmental year. Their 1-2 punch of Julius Randle and RJ Barrett is something to look out for. They just combined for 39 points last night. Mitchell Robinson, one of the most exciting and fun young players to watch in the league, especially because of his shot blocking ability. His athleticism and the dunk that leads to are great to see as well. We're just looking at a fun year from this team, especially with players like Dennis Smith Jr., Alonzo Trier. Even Kevin Knox put on some muscle, put on a little bit of weight, and we can see him get to the rim a little bit more. He's hitting shots at a better clip. And, this team, again, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be terrible. I think they're going to be fun. They won 17 games last year. I see them winning, 30 this year, but I think a lot of those games are going to be closer, or rather, a lot of those losses are going to be much closer losses than a lot of the losses we saw last year with that Emmanuel Mudiay led 17-win team. I think the Knicks just have a year to look forward to for reasons of development and not much else. And fans should understand that just because they didn't get KD doesn't mean that they have to push for the playoffs instantly. I think they should let their rebuild happen as it happens, and definitely the GM Scott Perry, he should be moving things along. But this is just a developmental year for the team. The young guys are going to develop. We have veterans now who are going to play their parts, going to act on their roles, be role players, and again, not going to be good, not going to be terrible. Somewhere in the middle, a little closer to the bad side than the good side. And, all in all, I think they'll be fun to watch. In the 18th spot, I've got the Boston Celtics. And this is a team that's going to do well in the Eastern Conference. Probably, actually, definitely be in the playoffs. Probably be one of the top seeds in the playoffs, as in like the 4 to 6 range. 3 if everything goes really well, which I don't see happening. Kemba is just fun to watch. He kept those Hornets teams alive despite how terrible they were. He kept them relevant and pretty much did it on his own. Now give him some other guys like Jason Tatum, Gordon Hayward, Jalen Brown, Marcus Smart. The list goes on of the Celtics assets. Young guys like Robert Williams and now Carson Edwards too. This team just, it's going to be fun. Tatum's fun to watch. Kemba's real fun to watch. Guys like Edwards are fun to watch. Brown, kind of an explosive aspect to his game that's just exciting to see. But I don't have them as a top league pass team because you're really looking at their roster. They're just not. They're not. You can't be too excited about this team. Guys like Ennis Cantor giving up how many points a night, just not being able to defend the pick and roll. This team is going to have a lot of fun aspects, a lot of frustrating ones. The East is quite a weak conference, so I think they'll do well in it. I don't see them doing very well or making a deep playoff push by any means, nor do I see them being a really fun team to watch. So, got them in the 18th spot and kind of middle of the pack because they're going to be a middle of the pack team to watch in terms of how fun they are. In the 17th spot, I have the Orlando Magic. And this is a team that's here a lot because of the intrigue factor I mentioned. What happens with Markelle Fultz? How will Jonathan Isaac look? How does Mo Bamba fit in? Is Aaron Gordon developing? Is Vucevic going to maintain his contract year all-star level of play? Will they get more consistent production out of DJ Augustine? I'd say Terrence Ross is like the only given on this team. You really know what you're going to get out of him. Great three-point shooting off the bench. Evan Fournier, kind of another, you know what you're going to get out of him. Just a scoring guard, can facilitate, and I actually like his game a lot. I liked watching him on the France national team, with the FIBA tournament. This team is going to be, I believe, one of the top teams in the East. I had them not so high in my Eastern Conference prediction video, and since then I have totally changed my mind. I see them finishing as a top team in the East, anywhere as high as the 3rd seed, anywhere as low as the 7th. I just think they're going to put things together a bit more and just be better than a good amount of teams in their conference, and that's how you get a high playoff seed. I see it happening. I see Gordon being really fun to watch. That legendary dunk contest competition isn't all he can do. He has some other exciting aspects to his game. And I'm just excited to see what happens with this team. So like I said, a lot of this ranking comes from the intrigue that I have for their play and how they'll do. But, I think they'll be good, and they'll be a good team to see, a fun team to watch, and overall just not a bad league pass choice at all. Again, though, they are middle of the pack because there's just better options. I don't think the Magic are a bad team to watch, though, by any means whatsoever. In the 16th spot, which is the final spot for this video, I've got the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young is an elite passer, an elite facilitator, an elite playmaker, an elite shooter. Guys like Kevin Huerter, another great shooter. They added 2 forwards in the draft this year, both of which I like. I really love Cam Reddish. I love his game. I'd love to see him be a point forward in this league, which, maybe Trae, I don't think he'll relinquish ball handling duties, but I'd like to see Reddish come up the court with the ball a few times and make some plays, especially with that height. DeAndre Hunter is really just you know what you're getting out of him. Some people say he reminds them of Kawhi, but Kawhi wasn't like Hunter as a prospect, at least. I don't see him being anywhere near as good as Kawhi is right now, ever in his career, but I see him having a long NBA career where he contributes to teams, hitting threes, especially his corner threes, defending, great defense, and playmaking, not really a strength. I can see him picking up on that. The rebounding is there, and he's just like a utility guy for this team. Kind of reminds me of Robert Covington a bit. I think Hunter in his prime will be much better than Covington is right now. Just kind of a similar build of player, in my opinion. Hawks have a lot of fun things to offer. That Trae Huerter kind of mini Stephen Clay duo is going to be great to see. Reddish and Hunter, see what they have to bring. Even guys like Jabari Parker coming off the bench, probably, or obviously. That can be interesting. There's a bit of an intrigue factor there, and I haven't even mentioned John Collins because I don't have to. We know he's a fun young player, catching alley-oops from Trae Young, creating for himself, maybe adding or probably improved his jump shot this summer. We can see that. Definitely be hitting some more mid-range shots this year. I can see those being drawn up in Lloyd Pierce's offense, and I'm just excited to see this team play, excited to see how things work out, and not too much of an intrigue factor here, not as much as the Magic, but we know they're going to be a fun team from knowing how all their players play, and I'm just excited to see them get to work this year and excited to see them get going. So that wraps up the first half of my 2020 NBA League Pass rankings. I will be posting numbers 15 through 1 as soon as possible, so keep your eyes open for that. Rate this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Was I totally off on something? Did I totally underrate your favorite team? Did I totally overrate a team? that maybe you don't like so much, or let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree with my list so far. Let me know if there's a team you were expecting to see really near the top that I had ranked in this kind of bottom half here. And other than that, I hope you enjoyed and stay tuned for the next episode. It'll be coming soon.